Hey guys, Chubbs here, back again with another Doom Builder tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create building stairs or rising staircases. So the map that you see here is in UDMF format, and before we really get started, I'm just going to go into visual mode and show you the little setup that I've got going here. So as you can see, we have sort of a small outdoor area. We have a player start, and then ahead of the player we have these two rock platforms, and both of these are too high for the player to jump to, so he's going to need a set of stairs in order to reach them. And that's what we're going to be focusing on in this tutorial, is creating a rising staircase that leads to each one of these platforms. So if we go back to the map overview, you can see that I've already laid out a set of stairs leading to each platform, but the stairs have not been raised up, of course, and that's what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. We're going to be creating a building staircase or a rising staircase. So to do that, we have a line that I've created here in front of the player, and this is going to be an invisible walkover line. So whenever he crosses this line, the staircases are going to build. So that's where we'll get started. I'll go ahead and, with this line highlighted here in line def mode, I'll go ahead and right click it to pull up its properties. And the first thing I'll do is I'll change activation to be when player walks over, so that it's now a walkover line. And next I'm going to go to the action category, and I'm going to click this icon here to pull up the list of actions. And if we go down to the stairs category and expand it, you can see that basically all of the options here are related to building stairs. And there are a bunch here, and if you aren't familiar with these, it can seem really odd and confusing to know which one to pick. And what it comes down to is you basically have four types of building stairs. You have the Doom type, which is kind of like the vanilla Doom style. You have the Boom style that, as far as I know, originated with the Boom source port. That's this style right here, the generic. And then you have the Hexen style, and that is the build up and build down. And also the Hexen Sink style, which is the build up, build down, sink. So those are the four types. Doom type, the Boom type, the plain old Hexen type, and then the Hexen Sink type. So we're going to talk about all four of those types in this video, and I'm going to demonstrate all four of those for you. So let's start with the simplest, or I should say the oldest, which is going to be the Doom type. So this is going to be line action number 217, stairs build up, Doom mode. So I'll go ahead and select that action, and you can see that we need to tell it some information. So I'm going to specify that the sector tag is 1, and we've not set that up yet, but I'll do that here in just a second. We'll keep the movement speed at 4. For the step height, I'm going to type 8 because I designed those staircases in such a way that each step needs to be raised by 8 units in order for the entire staircase to end up reaching the platform. And we're going to change build step delay to be no delay because I don't want there to be any delay in between building each step. You can do that if you like, but I personally don't like that at all. I like the steps to just be built one at a time without any wait in between. And I'm also going to keep reset delay at 0. Reset delay is basically like a timer, and whenever that timer expires, the staircase essentially unbuilds itself. So that might be good if you want some sort of a speed puzzle where a staircase builds and then the player has to get to it and run up it fast enough, and if he doesn't, the staircase unbuilds. But I never really do that, so I'm just going to keep that at 0. So this is just going to be a plain old staircase that builds its way up, and the step height for each step is going to be 8. So nice and simple here. And again, this is all going to happen when the player crosses over this line. So now that we've set up all this information, I'm going to click OK. And if we highlight the line, you can see that we're not getting any arrow pointing to a step. So what we need to do is, in the line properties, remember that we set up the sector tag to be 1. We need to go to the very first step of our rising staircase and give it a tag of 1. So in sector mode, I'm going to highlight this first step, pull up its properties, and I'm going to give that sector a tag of 1. And now if we go back to line def mode and highlight that line, you can see that we have an arrow pointing to that step. So you would think this is all you have to do, but there is a little bit of extra work that we have to do to make this work correctly. So what I'm going to do right now is just test the map, and I'll show you why it's not quite done, because we actually have a problem. So let's test it and see what happens. So yeah, that definitely was not quite right. That behavior was actually pretty weird. So what happened is, whenever you're making vanilla Doom style stairs, the way that the line defs are set up is important. That's really what it's looking for, is the way the line defs are set up for each stair. And what I mean by that is, if you look at each line, you'll notice that there's a little peg in the middle of each line that's pointing in a certain direction. So these steps on the outside here, or these lines on the outside of each step, you can see that these that I'm highlighting, all of their pegs are facing out this way. The ones on this side, all of their pegs are facing out that way. When you're building a rising staircase in Vanilla Doom, both of those are important. You want the sides of the steps to face outwards. You don't want them to face inwards. So these are set up correctly. Also notice that for each step, the front of the step, I guess you could say, their pegs are facing this way. Their pegs are basically facing to the left. So the front of this step, its peg is facing this way. The front of this step, its peg's facing to the left also. They're all facing to the left. The problem is that when you're building a rising staircase like this in Vanilla Doom, what you have to do is you basically have to go to the line def of the platform, or the line def of where you want it to stop, and you need to flip that so that the line's peg faces in the opposite direction. So in this case, this is the platform that we want our rising staircase to stop at. And so what we need to do is we need to go to this line def, because this is the line def of the platform, and we need to flip this so that its peg is not facing to the left, but is instead facing to the right, and that way it's the opposite of all of these. So I'm going to go to just this line def, and while I'm highlighting it, I'm just going to press the F key, and now its peg is facing to the right. So what will happen now is the stairs will all build up. It's going to be looking for the line def the way the pegs are facing, and then when it gets to this peg, or this line that's facing the other way, it's going to stop right there. So that way it will stop at the platform. So now that I've just flipped that one line def, that should fix our problem. So let's go ahead and test the map, make sure that it works correctly, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so that fixed it. So as soon as we walked over that line, we had a staircase that built its way up so that we could then reach the platform. So the important point there is, when you're creating a Vanilla Doom building staircase, you want the outside of the steps, the outer lines of the steps to face outwards away from the step. You want the front of the steps to face one way. All of the steps, I should say, the front of all of the steps need to face one way, and then when you get to where the steps should stop, that line should face the opposite way. So it's a little confusing, but if you just practice with it and create your own building staircases and mess around with it in the editor, you'll get the hang of it. So there's one other important point when it comes to making Vanilla Doom stairs, and it's actually a limitation, and that is, if any of the steps have a different texture than the others, that will also stop the building process. And so it'll almost be like having a line def that's flipped the wrong way. So let's go to, I'll just pick a random step. Let's go to this step right here, and let's just give it some texture. I don't care what it is. I'll just give it this texture here. Now if we play test the map, watch and see what happens due to us having that different texture. So notice that texture sort of threw it off. That is one of the major limitations of the Doom style building stairs, is that all of the steps basically need to share the same floor texture. You can't mix and match. Also, another limitation is that Vanilla Doom stairs can only build upwards. They cannot be built downwards. So that's it for the vanilla Doom stairs. So next, let's move on to the boom style. So I'm going to pull up this line's properties once more. And let's go back to the stairs category. And now we're going to move to stairs generic build. And this is the boom style that I was talking about earlier. So I'm going to click OK. And now you can see that things are just a little bit different. So I'm going to set up most of our properties again. So sector tag needs to be 1. Movement speed, we'll keep it 4. The step height needs to be 8. And this is the most interesting part here, options. So if we click this little icon next to options, you'll see that we have these two new features that are basically introduced in Boom that the vanilla Doom stair building does not support. So the first option is to build the stair upwards. So basically, if this is unchecked, that means that the staircase can be built downwards. And if we check upwards, then it's going to behave like it was before. So basically with Boom, you can have stairs that not only build up, but that also build down. So you can build up or down. For this, we're going to check upwards because that's the behavior we want. We want a staircase that builds up to the platform. And notice that we also have this other flag here, ignore floor texture. That's a really cool new feature that came with Boom. You can make it so that a staircase builds up, and even if the stairs change floor textures, it doesn't matter. All it's paying attention to is the line defs, the way that those pegs are flipped. So we'll go ahead and check that. I'll click OK. So we have all of our scene properties set up, and we've also set up the stairs so that they're built upwards and they are ignoring any floor texture changes. So now let's click OK. And as I was saying there, the Boom style of stairs still need to be set up the same way I showed you before, with the pegs being set up correctly. So they need to be facing the correct direction. And the last peg here, where the platform is, it needs to be facing in the opposite direction. So those rules all still apply. But let's go here to one of these random steps and let's give it a different floor texture again. And now watch what happens with this new Doom, or the I should say Boom style building staircase. So as you can see, with the Boom version, you basically get all of the same functionality, except you can have stairs that build up or down. And as you can see there in our demonstration that I just ran, even if floor textures change, you can specify that it basically doesn't care. It will continue to build the staircase based on the line defs and the way that the pegs are facing, instead of based on any sort of floor textures. So now that we have used the Boom style, let's move on to the third style, which is going to be the Hexen style. So I'll go back to the actions, pull up the list of actions again. And the Hexen style, or the regular Hexen style I should say, are stairs build up and stairs build down. So when we were setting up the Boom style here, we had to go to the options, and inside the options we had to specify whether the stairs were built up or down. With the Hexen style stairs though, you basically select the up or down part right here just in the list of actions. So if you want a staircase that goes up, you just choose this up action. If you want it to be built down, you choose the down action. So you choose the direction right up front. So we're going to choose up because we want a staircase that's built up. And now we have really most of the same options as we did back when we were doing the vanilla Doom stairs. So I'm going to set all of these up to be the same. Sector tag needs to be 1. The movement speed can be left unchanged. Step height should be 8 instead of 16. We don't want there to be any sort of build delay, and we also definitely don't want a reset delay. So we've set up everything correctly, but with the Hexen style stairs, we can't keep things as they are because they operate a little bit differently than the vanilla Doom and the Boom stairs. So let's test what we have here, even with the correct properties that we had before, and let's see what the behavior's like. Okay, so that definitely was not right. You could see that when we crossed over that line, all that really happened is one stair built and the rest of the staircase did not build. So what happened there? Well, with the Hexen Stairs, basically the way it works is instead of focusing on line depths and the way that lines are facing, the way that the line's pegs are facing, I should say, it instead relies on sector specials. So to better explain this to you, let's go to sector mode, and I'm just going to go to one of these stairs. It can be any of them, and I'm going to pull up their sector properties. And if we go under the effects category and bring up the list of effects, notice that we have two effects here called Stairs Special 1 and Stairs Special 2. These effects are what determine which stairs raise up in the staircase. And so what you basically need to do for a rising staircase using the Hexen method is you need to start with the what I'll do is I'll start with the first stair. So I'll select this first stair in sector mode, and with that first stair selected, we now need to basically select every other stair. So I'm going to go this stair, this stair, this stair, and then this stair. So notice that I selected every other stair and I skipped one in between, just like that. So with every other stair selected like this, I'm going to go to their sector properties and I'm going to assign them the Stairs Special 1 property. This is special number 26. And again, this is in sector mode. This is not a line action, this is a sector effect. So Stairs Special 1, number 26. So that has been done for every other stair. Now we need to go to the stairs in between that we did not select. And with all of those stairs selected, the ones that we did not give an action or a sector effect, I'm going to give them a sector effect of Stairs Special 2, 27. And so now notice that we have alternating sector effects. We have 26, 27, 26, 27, and that pattern continues until the end of the rising staircase. So that's how the Hexen format works with rising stairs. Instead of paying attention to how the pegs are facing or how the line depths are, it just looks for these alternating specials or these alternating sector effects, and when it gets to the last one and it sees that there's no other sector effect to continue to, that's how it knows when to stop building the staircase. So now that we have given these stairs those alternating sector effects, let's test the map and let's make sure that we have fixed the problem and that the full staircase actually builds. So there we go, that fixed it. So the problem is that we needed to throw in those alternating sector effects. So that's a little bit strange, but that's just how the Hexen format of stairs works. So next we're going to look at the last version. This is going to be the fourth type of building stair, and that is going to be the stairs build up sink. And there's also a stairs build down sink. So this is also going to be following the Hexen format. So we're still going to need those alternating sector effects that I just showed you. But things are going to be a little bit different here. So I'm going to fill in most of the same properties. I'm going to change sector tag to be 1. For movement speed, I'm actually going to slow this down greatly, and I'll sort of explain why I'm doing this here in just a second. So instead of normal, I'm going to change the movement speed to be 1, which is basically as slow as possible. Step height, I'm going to make 8, and we're going to keep reset delay at 0. So now let's go ahead, let's click OK, and if we test this, the behavior is going to be a little odd. So let's go ahead and test it and see how this works. So notice that the staircase built correctly, but the way it built was a little weird. Instead of each step coming up sequentially, it's almost like the staircase in its entirety just came up out of the ground. It's like it just came up smoothly. You might be wondering what the point of that even is, and the point of it is kind of in its name. Stairs build up sync. What sync means is that you can synchronize two or more rising staircases so that they build at the exact same time. So to demonstrate that, let's go over, we've been focusing on this set of stairs here. Let's go to this set of stairs. So you can clearly see, especially if we go to this top-down mode, that this set of stairs has more stairs. So you can see, it's pretty easy to tell. We have more stairs, and we also have a taller platform over here too. So let's go ahead and set this up to be Hexen compatible. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first step, and I'm going to give it a tag of 1. And that way they both have a tag of 1, and if we highlight the line, you can see that we have arrows pointing to both. So this single walkover line will trigger 2 rising staircases. And then we need to set up these stairs to have those alternating sector effects in order for it to work properly with a Hexen style staircase. So I'm going to start with the first stair, and then I'm going to select every other stair, just like we did before. I'm going to give all of these the stair special 1 effect, and then I'm going to select the others, the ones in between, and I'm going to give them the stair special 2 effect. There we go. So both staircases should now be set up, and now check out what happens when we test the map now that these are both going to be assigned the stairs build up sync action. Let's see what happens. So notice that both of those staircases built at the exact same time. Even though they have different numbers of steps, even though the second staircase has to reach a higher platform, because they were using that sync version, they both built at the exact same time, so they both finished building at the same time. So to show you how that's different, let's go back to our action, and instead of sync, let's just do the plain old Hexen build version, which is just build up. And let's set up the same properties again. Sector tag will be 1, movement speed will be unchanged, step height will be 8, no build step delay. And now let's test it. And this is without syncing them together, and you should be able to very clearly see the difference here. Alright, so that time, since we were just using the plain old Hexen stairs build up action, the staircase on the left finished building well before the one on the right, since the one on the right had more stairs. So that's the main difference. The sync versions are for if you want to have 2 or more staircases that build at the exact same time, even if they have a different number of stairs. Whereas the plain old build up and build down stairs, those will not be synchronized. The amount of time that it takes to build is going to depend on how many steps they have, and of course what sort of individual settings that you choose, like for the build step delay, etc. So those are the 4 types of stairs. Again, you have the Doom format, you have the boom style, the Hexen style, and then you have the Hexen sync style. I guess you could technically just group the Hexen sync style in with the Hexen style, so maybe you could say there's really only 3 styles of stairs, but I like to think of them as being 4 different styles. But I hope this video has helped you guys out. This ended up being a little bit longer than I was hoping it would be, but hopefully I explained each type of staircase clearly for you guys. And as always, thanks everyone for watching. This is Chubbs signing out.